Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 5, Chapter 13, The Jedi. Perhaps the most crucial episode of the series since its premiere, revealing, spoiler warning, a live-action Ahsoka Tano, her quest to find Grand Admiral Thrawn, and the name of the child we have been calling Baby Yoda, that name being Grogu.
Grogu and I can feel each other's thoughts.
Grogu, Grogu,
Grogu, Grogu, Grogu,
Grogu, Grogu,
Grogu, Grogu.
Which I assume by now that you know and already have an opinion about. Now, I made another video breaking down Grogu's timeline from the events of Order 66 to the moment Mando found him in the Mandalorian series premiere, and Tommy and I went into it further in Wookiee Leaks, but in this episode, I am gonna go through this episode frame by frame to scrutinize each shot of the episode, not just for the many Star Wars Easter eggs and tie-ins, but for the fascinating craft details that the people who make the show put into it. And yeah, before I begin, the shirt I am wearing is our This Is the Way shirt. It is available for a limited time only in our official merch store, newrockstarsmerch.com. Actually, Philip knocked out a brand new shirt to celebrate the reveal of the child's real name. This has got to be the first shirt out there that has little baby Grogu by his real name in his adorable little mugshot, because he's a little monster. All right, here we go into the episode. The episode opens on Corvus, the forest planet Bo-Katan told us about back in Chapter 11, though instead of the lush Rivendell I kind of expected, we instead get a charred Mordor landscape, which in our Wookiee Leaks after show I interpreted as a symbolic reflection of the dead Jedi dogma that Ahsoka and Grogu should really no longer cling to.
the sacred Jedi texts. Ooh.
The smoky fog illuminates with the twin white blades of Ahsoka Tano, played in flawless cosplay by Rosario Dawson, though maybe Snips and Snips could have been a bit longer because she's older, but well, she looks just like her otherwise. Bravo. Bit of background, Ahsoka Tano was introduced back in Clone Wars, Anakin's apprentice and friend who later gets falsely accused for a crime by the Jedi Order, and even after her name is cleared, she walks from that order, and in the final season of Clone Wars that came out earlier this year, she helped Bo-Katan liberate Mandalore from Maul, but right as Order 66 came out, she was forced to break with her beloved clone trooper unit. Ahsoka's cloak here actually is the same cloak she was wearing in that series finale. Ahsoka also appeared years later in the Star Wars timeline in Rebels, fighting Anakin as Vader with these two white lightsabers that she actually got from Inquisitors. Inquisitors were former Jedi dragged over to the dark side and tasked with hunting down runaway Jedi. Rebels ends with Ahsoka joining Sabine Wren to seek out Ezra Bridger, who had previously zipped away to some unknown destination via hyperspace Wales along with Thrawn. More on that in a bit. But before we continue, thank you to Vessi Shoes for sponsoring this video. If you are looking for shoes that look great, keep your feet dry and temperature controlled, and are super comfortable, this is the way. Vessi makes knit sneakers that are 100% waterproof and weatherproof. They're way more comfortable than some stiff old winter boot. Dumb boots! Vessi's shoes are super stretchy. Look at that. They stretch and they fit you like a sock. They only weigh 175 grams. They are made with the space-age Dynamex material, so these are shoes that you can wear every day in all kinds of weather. One less thing to worry about. They're also super easy to clean. You really just rinse with water and toss in the washing machine. Vessis are sustainably made with no animal byproducts. See, Baby Yoda isn't the only one thinking green around here.
When am I gonna find someone who looks at me the way Mando looks at Baby Yoda? What the? Ugh. I got my foot in the. Wait a minute. The shoe's wet, but the feet are dry. This is amazing.
So yeah, whether I'm stomping around Naboo or kicking it back by my pool, Vessis keep my feet dry. And they have this incredible Cyber Monday deal. Don't procrastinate and wait until the last minute to do your holiday shopping. This is the perfect gift for you and your loved ones, especially for the upcoming rainy season. Get them while they still have sizes, and you can thank me later. Check out the link below, and if you missed the holiday sale, you can still use my code NEWROCKSTARS to get $25 off your Vessi shoes. Ahsoka's lightsaber action here is so well choreographed. I love how Dave Filoni's direction IDs her position with just the light of the blades alone, beaming through the murk. Similar to the visual that revealed Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in the poison gas and Phantom Menace, a Jedi misdirect designed to instill fear and confusion in her enemies' hearts. And it's awesome to see how creative she gets with these sabers. She slices a trunk, and then she cleaves out a whole piece that she can use to take a guy out, leaving the trunk to drop down on its lower stump. So it's not just saber against enemy, she uses her whole surroundings. The Caladan magistrate is Morgan Elsbeth, played by Diana Lee Inosanto, daughter of legendary martial artist Dan Inosanto and goddaughter to the man Bruce Lee. So when she kept getting asked about her master, I was like, hell yeah, this warrior was trained by the best. You'll recognize her lieutenant, Wang, played by Michael Biehn, star of Terminator and Aliens, though I wish he had a bigger role in this show. Oh well. Now this episode is titled The Jedi for Ahsoka. I was hoping the title could have been like plural and or also referring to the child, but translations from other languages show how they use the feminine article for the in this case. As Mando and the child approach, the kid once again desires that spherical knob at the end of the control stick, the one that the kid wanted in chapter 3 and that Mando looked at and remembered that he still loves his kid and he made his true act of love to rescue him. I have a feeling Grogu's love of it might go deeper than just like a mere kid wanting a toy. Maybe it reminds him of some part of his past, like, I don't know, it could have been taken to the Death Star at some point. We will see. A Caladan watchman uses a scanner similar to the one used by a postguard on Yavin 4 in A New Hope, and when they land, these large creatures that kind of match the silhouette of an AT-AT at feed on the barks of the burnt trees in the background. Now, Mando is asked if he is part of the Bounty Hunter Guild, to which he responds,
Last I checked.
which is interesting because he kind of broke with the guild rules back in that chapter 3 episode, though he hasn't technically checked if he's still part of it. And he's also starting to bend the rules of his own Mandalorian code, so he really has no problem reneging on this agreement with the magistrate, and we're just seeing how the only rule that remains sacred to this character is his love for the child. I love the production design on the Caladan town. It is clearly inspired by samurai films with feudal Japanese walls, these circular towers with their flat conical roofs, and within the city walls there's all these peasants living in squalor with a sharp contrast to the inner courtyard palace, serene, beautiful, a bubble of paradise, a classic wealth disparity that you see in those kind of stories, where the wealthy elite landlords are completely unaware of the problems of the people serving underneath them. And I love how later the duel plays out with a slow, deliberate kendo-style fight choreography, a throwback to the slower swordplay of Obi-Wan and Vader that George Lucas originally based the whole Jedi culture on. The imagery may also remind you of the final duel in the quiet garden between the bride and Oren-Ishii in Kill Bill. Quentin Tarantino is also a lover of Akira Kurosawa and staged this battle the same way, a raging melee heightening to an ice-cold, intimate face-off. Meanwhile, the Western counterpart to samurai films, the Western film genre, inspires the duel outside the courtyard between Mando and Wang, with a gunslinger showdown lifted directly from the work of directors like Sergio Leone. Essentially, Westerns and samurai films are parallel genres just from different parts of the world, both inspiring the Star Wars world. It's so amazing to see both play such a big role in this episode. Elsbeth keeps prisoners on display in these public stocks with electric fields, zapping them to reveal their skeletons underneath, similar to the zapping Sith lightning that we've seen before. And I believe Hera in Rebels was tortured with one of these. Elsbeth feeds her fish in her koi pond, though I'm pretty sure those aren't koi in there. Notice Grogu gives them a curious look, kind of like the frog eggs. Grogu is very much into aquatic life, just keeping track of his amphibious origins as we try to narrow them down. Elsbeth reminds Mando that the Jedi are ancient enemies of Mandalore, offering him as a reward for killing Ahsoka a pure Beskar spear capable of resisting lightsaber strikes, telling us that Mando's armor is moments away from some Ahsoka hits, but also shedding some light on the ancient Jedi and Mandalorians and how they were so evenly matched. I love the ping the staff makes when he strikes it on its gauntlet.
Beskar.
There's an almost magical strength that you can hear in there that justifies its ability to repel a lightsaber hit. As they venture out to find Ahsoka, amazing Easter egg here, the bird on the branch in the upper left. This owl is Morai, a hugely significant spirit animal that follows Ahsoka. It is the embodiment of the daughter, one of the 3 Mortis cosmic entities who represents the light side of the Force. The daughter gave her life to save Ahsoka, and now she is represented in this Morai bird. That bird also appears circling over Vader in the final moments of Clone Wars. Ahsoka and Mando briefly duel, and it is really fun to see these two one-up each other. Ahsoka even, you can tell, gets a little kick out of it when she looks down to realize her binds can be reverted in order to snare Mando. But then he mentions Bo-Katan sent him, and she sees the child, and then our lives get so much better. Next scene, framed in the light of the moon, Ahsoka and Grogu stare each other down, and from this nonverbal Force link, she reveals his name and origin.
Grogu and I can feel each other's thoughts.
Grogu?
He was raised at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. At the end of the Clone Wars, when the Empire rose to power, he was hidden. Someone took him from the temple.
And I love how Grogu looks up at Mando each time he uses his name, but then even more subtle, he gives a look of recognition when Ahsoka mentions the name of Master Yoda.
A wise Jedi Master named Yoda.
And yes, if you were listening closely there, that was a musical leitmotif to the John Williams Yoda theme playing underneath. Ahsoka says some mystery person took the child from the Jedi Temple during Order 66. In yesterday's video, I speculated that could have been Yaddle, who most of us assume to be dead based off of a comic where Vader fights Yaddle's ghost. But there have been like other mentions and things like Jedi Fallen Order that suggest she might still be alive. We'll see. Now, it could have just been Obi-Wan Kenobi, who did survey that temple in the aftermath, and this could definitely tie in the upcoming Kenobi series. Others have suggested Costa, the temple librarian, who did die shortly after the events of Revenge of the Sith, but did have enough time to save that kid if she could have. I'm also intrigued by the possibility of Mace Windu, who supposedly died, though no body was ever found, and there is speculation that he could get a future spin-off series. If the theories are true that Grogu and Anakin's matching birth years mean they might be part of a dyad, I could see a scenario where Grogu uses his force healing powers to heal the wounds on Mace Windu that were caused by the counterpart, Anakin. Now, the stark burnt landscape gives way to lively green in the area where Ahsoka trains Baby Yoda, an interesting reflection of the life force that these two Jedi are about to tap into. Ahsoka levitates a rock to him, echoing the way Master Yoda used rocks to train Luke on Dagobah, but then she says this.
I sense much fear in you.
A direct callback to Yoda's warning to Anakin in Phantom Menace.
I sense much fear in you.
Ahsoka fears that training a child with vulnerable personal connections will result in the same calamity as her old friend Anakin, whom she calls, heartbreakingly, the best of us. Ahsoka explains how Elsbeth's family was massacred during the Clone Wars and that Elsbeth used that anger to plunder and destroy worlds to help build the Imperial Starfleet, but I don't think that's her MO now. The fact that she calls Thrawn her master suggests to me that she and Thrawn might be building a new Starfleet that's separate from the Empire, maybe an independent Order of Thrawn. Ahsoka and Mando team up and she scales the wall, slices that bell in half. Notice how she also slices the guard standing right in front of it. So cool. Guarding the town are HK-87 droids, an apparent upgrade from the HK-47 from Knights of the Old Republic. A Lothcat also appears. We saw one of these last season, and for many, this is another sign that Ezra Bridger could show up at some point. They do come from his home world. But when Ahsoka confronts Elsbeth in the courtyard, I love how we don't see Ahsoka arrive. She's just already standing there waiting for her. It's as if this showdown was inevitable, a promise delivered from that opening scene.
Surrender, or face the consequences.
When Ahsoka ignites her right blade, the wind catches her robe on the ground. It's a nice detail of VFX meeting practical to suggest the warmth of the blade could have affected the airflow there. After a thrilling duel, Ahsoka drops the big question.
Now tell me, where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
So, Thrawn was one of the first big things to come out of the Star Wars Expanded Universe novels. He was so popular that Dave Filoni later brought him into Season 3 of Rebels. Originally, Thrawn was tasked with leading the Empire after its defeat in the Battle of Endor, but in Rebels, during the Galactic Civil War, he is pursuing the crew of the Ghost. Yes, he's last seen disappearing in hyperspace with Ezra. So, for Ahsoka, finding Thrawn means finding Ezra, unless she already found them in these past few years, and that perhaps Ezra and Sabine could be dead. And now Ahsoka just wants revenge against Thrawn. So Thrawn is a Chiss. He is a genius tactician, skilled hand-to-hand combatant, which might be why Elsbeth calls him, quote, master. I really do think, or at least I hope, that he is now building his own Starfleet independent from the old guard of the Empire or Palpatine, just because Thrawn would be such a cooler villain who embraces the spirit of legends, what people love about Star Wars, without getting bogged down in that same old Rebels versus Empire conflict that every generation of Star Wars is driven by. Ahsoka tells Mando to take Grogu to Tython and place him on a Seeing Stone so that he can connect with other Jedi. The new hope is that Jedi Luke Skywalker could sense that and connect with these characters, maybe with a de-aged Mark Hamill or just a hooded figure with Hamill's voice. But the fear is that darker Force-sensitive entities might intercept that call. Tython is another element from Star Wars Legends. It was originally the home to the Jedi Order, predecessor to the Jedi Order, but it was brought brought into official canon in a Force Awakens RPG and then a later novel, Tython is essentially one of the sacred Jedi sites, along with Ahch-To, Jedha, maybe the ruins where all of this started. In the final moments, notice how Ahsoka and Grogu exchange the subtlest nod of respect, very similar to the nod that Ahsoka exchanged with Elsbeth. To me, this suggests an even deeper understanding between the Jedi than we realize. Maybe deeper thoughts and secrets in Grogu's mind that Ahsoka chose not to disclose to Mando. Maybe Grogu wants to be taken to Tython instead of staying with Ahsoka on Corvus to try to keep himself and Mando away from Ahsoka's beef with Thrawn, which is probably gonna get real nasty, and closer to a path that will intersect them with good things like Luke Skywalker. So those are all the subtle details that I found this episode, but there is so much more to talk about from this one episode. We're gonna be making more videos about it. In the meantime, subscribe to New Rockstars, hit that notification bell, follow me on Instagram at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars. Thank you for watching. I have spoken.